Imagine a galaxy
Uh,
just teetering on the brink, not just from, the usual wars, but from this mysterious, mind-altering force, something that changes everything. It touches people, planets, even ancient prophecies. That's really the core of our deep dive today. Welcome to the deep dive. We're setting out to unravel these harrowing events of the Eighth Succession War Part 2, and we're really zeroing in on this pervasive, enigmatic entity known simply as the Call.
right. And our mission basically is to pull out the most important insights from the source material to really get a handle on how this, well, almost cosmic force manipulates destinies, reshapes whole civilizations.
And the sources for this.
Yeah, we're drawing from a series of narratives called Excerpts from Eighth Succession War Part 2, specifically Tales 11 through 20, so the Hive all the way to Day I Died. It's complex stuff, a real tapestry.
Definitely sounds like it, but we've sort of pulled out the crucial threads for you.
Exactly.
So get ready for a journey connecting, well, seemingly disparate lives. You've got these three desperate siblings escaping what sounds like corporate slavery.
A really cunning smuggler, haunted by his past, a completely depraved warlord looking for ultimate power.
Yeah, he's something else.
And even the whole structure of galactic government starting to just unravel. And it's all happening under the influence of the Call. So let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so to really grasp the Call's influence, I think we have to start where it seems to first manifest, with the journey of these three siblings.
Yeah, that feels like the right place. It starts on farmland. This is way out there, the farthest core conglomerate system in the Galactic Minor, and life under the Core Conglomerate Family Services, the CCFS. Well, the sources describe it as basically child labor.
Right, like lightly disguised indentured servitude. It sounds brutal.
It's stark, yeah. So we meet the triplets, Uno, Duo, and Tarai. The CCFS actually named them 1, 2, 3. Pretty dehumanizing.
Definitely.
Their parents are gone, and the system denied their release at age 12. So when they were 13, they staged this jailbreak. 50 other kids involved.
50. Yeah, but sadly, almost all of them got caught. Only the triplets and 3 others got away initially.
And I read there was a court hearing after that, but it sounds like it was just for show.
Completely. The source calls it a dog and pony show. Designed to look fair, but not really. They were declared wards of the state, but then sent back to the CCFS until they turned 21.
And saddled with debt for the damages from the jailbreak. So basically trapping them again.
Exactly. It's a system built for entrapment, the psychological toll, the sheer desperation. That's what pushes them. They're facing being shipped off to mine Sargot, nasty stuff, apparently on their 21st birthday.
And there's no way out. No bribing guards, no stowing away.
Nope. All options closed. Their only choice, their last resort, was the forbidden Q zone.
Okay, so the Q zone, this is where Uno's talent comes in, right? The near-genius triplet.
Yeah, he hacked the system, found blind spots in the security grid, and located this hidden 6-foot metal door inside the massive energy fence around their habitat.
A hidden door. Okay.
Gave them maybe a 15-minute head start on the security drones, so they just bolted. Ran 5 kilometers towards a river, dodging laser fire, stun beams. There was even a security shuttle coming down.
Intense. How did they get away?
They dove into this hole, ended up in an underground lake, which then flushed them out into a cave system.
Just, wow. From servitude to a desperate flight into the unknown.
And after hours walking through this cave, totally lost, they stumble into, well, a paradise.
Paradise after all that.
Yeah, the source says a cornucopia of trees, grass, sparkling water, small waterfalls, and tons of amazing-looking fruits and vegetables. Just, idyllic.
There's got to be a catch, right? This sounds too good to be true.
There is. They gorge themselves on this fruit naturally, and it turns out to be hallucinogenic.
Ah, okay. That makes more sense.
And while they're tripping, basically, they meet Carl.
Carl the insectoid. Describe him again.
Right. He's described as a human-sized bug, like a sentinel being, sort of a cross between a dant and a hornet. 7 feet tall, 400 pounds, super strong.
And he was exiled from his hive. Why?
Because he was deaf, couldn't participate fully, couldn't hear commands or whatever. And he was totally fascinated by human sleep. He called it go dead.
Go dead. Yeah, that's unsettling. But they connect with him?
Surprisingly, yeah. They tell him their story. He tells them his. They find this common ground, being outcasts. And then the really weird part happens.
Which is?
The triplets just start understanding Carl's language. Crinching. It's all clicks, whistles, throat-clearing sounds. But they get it.
Instantly. Without learning it.
Seems like it. which, feels like more than just luck, right? It hints that maybe something else is going on, some deeper connection being forged. Carl is overjoyed, sees him as his ticket back home.
So this unexpected bond leads them on a journey to the hive.
Yep. A 4-month journey, apparently perilous, lots of adventures. They become this tight-knit quadruplet unit.
4 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And they finally arrive at the hive. What's it like?
It's these honeycomb domes. One's even built into a dormant volcano. Pretty cool visual. The insectoids there, they don't sleep like humans. They use some kind of meditative state.
But it wasn't exactly a warm welcome, was it?
No, not at all. As they got closer, the insectoids, and it's a mix, pure bloods like a roach king and bee royalty, plus lots of sort of hodgepodge evolutionary variations, they started chanting.
Chanting what?
Meat.
Oh. Right. The hunger for human flesh, that paradise feeling is long gone.
Definitely. Got dangerous fast. Carl had to basically plow through the elite guards to get them into the great hall where the elders were.
And there they meet the Ancient One.
Exactly. Small, robed figure. The oldest among them, first among the first, last of the purest of the pure, all very cryptic and important sounding. And she says she foretold their coming long ago.
An ancient prophecy involving the triplets and Carl.
Seems so. She reveals this ancient drawing like on a tapestry. Shows 3 figures and one other figure standing before an artifact.
And Uno? He had something.
Yeah, Uno, always prepared, pulls out this crystal-like orb. It's described as twice the size of the piece shown in the tapestry, and it just instinctively merges with the artifact piece in the hall. Big flash of light.
And that's when it happens.
That's when it happens. This eerie, black, constantly shifting form appears. Blue-red eyes. The source names it the call. It appears, then vanishes.
Vanishes, but they feel it.
Oh, yeah. The triplets hear this, pulling hum. A call. And Carl hears it too, even though he was deaf before. He starts sobbing. It's clearly profound, deeply affecting.
So the artifact merging, the call appearing, what happens to the triplets themselves?
Well, 2 more identical artifacts appear. One for duo, one for tri. All 3 of them grab hold, absorb them. They vanish for a second.
And reappear.
Glowing. Vividly blue, with those same blue-red eyes. And they speak together.
What do they say?
We are the triumvirate. We understand we are the heralds of the call. They say they serve the call now. They're evolved, changed, but still themselves somehow.
So they retain their identities, but are now agents, instruments of this force.
Seems like it. And Carl, their friend, he gets transformed too. The triumvirate touches him, declares, "Arise, my friend, you are deaf. No more hear the call and become the guardian of the triumvirate."
And he just changes.
Instantly. Transforms into this figure in golden-trimmed, blue-red armor, holding a bow staff, radiating blue power, and of course the blue-red eyes. He's no longer just Carl, he's the guardian.
Wow, okay. So the triumvirate and the guardian, what's their first act?
Judgment. They look at the pureblood insectoid elders and leaders and find them lacking.
Lacking. What does that mean for them?
Nothing good. The guardian's antlers twitch. This power envelops all the purebloods and twists them, transforms them into these hideous, monstrous beings.
Seems cold.
The swarm. And this whole horrifying transformation is broadcast across the entire kingdom.
Chilling, utterly chilling, annihilating the old order and twisting it into something monstrous.
Exactly. And the Guardian immediately commands this new swarm to convert the entire planet, Armland, into War World.
War World? For what?
For the coming Battle of the Call. Any surviving habitat dwellers, they get converted too into these grotesque human drones.
So farmland becomes the first staging ground. And the triumvirate's final words there.
We shall have our king. It sets the stage. The Call's plan is unfolding, and it's ruthless.
Okay, so while all that is happening on farmland, the Call's influence is also echoing through the galaxy's history, right? Which brings us to Captain Kai.
Yeah, Kai. A specialized smuggler, captain of the Allard. We meet him in a really bad spot.
Understatement, it sounds like.
Right. His ship, the Allard, is crippled, limping on auxiliary power. Got hit by missiles from a huge dreadnought destroyer and a smaller D-type ship. He's got his companions, Raz and Shelley, on board.
But Kai isn't just any smuggler, is he? He pulls off something incredible.
Totally. Extreme maneuvers. Does a cold boot of the ship's systems, mentions overspec illegal tech, which is interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then makes this hyperspace jump specifically designed to make the incoming missiles hit the pursuing D-type ship. Takes it out.
That's insane. And brilliant. Where do they end up?
They managed to crash land at an old defunct Vanguard space station, way out of the edge of galactic minor space. Kai's AI, Hal, comes back online to check the damage.
And it's here, on this broken down station, that Raz starts revealing some pretty heavy stuff about the past.
Yeah, She explains this ongoing ancient conflict, the succession war. Says it's driven by just a sheer lust for war.
A perpetual war.
Seems like it. And she talks about her past on Maxium. It was her home for 3 centuries. A place of peace, monks, order of the tranquil mind.
Sounds like another lost paradise.
Exactly. It became a major battleground in the war. Countless monks died. It's clearly a deep trauma for her.
And then she shows Kai something personal.
Yeah, this old, grainy hologram, recorded by her AI, A1, that shows a much younger Kai, no scars, wearing this striking red and purple mithril battle armor.
Doing what?
Leading resistance fighters against soldiers belonging to an Empress move on Maxium. How Kai's AI confirms it's him, or a version of him. Says the recording is 325 years old.
325 years. So who is Empress Meph?
This is the big reveal. Empress Meph was Kai's mother. Her full name, Kai Allard via Meph.
His mother. And she was fighting against him? Or he against her?
He was fighting against her. She'd apparently sought power, taken the artifact for herself during a previous succession war.
Okay, the artifact. This sounds familiar. Is it related to the one the triplets found?
It seems very likely. This artifact, Raz explains, was originally meant to be a gift, something to guide the galaxy to a golden age. But it corrupted everyone who wore it, turned them into the king.
The king. Just like the triumvirate mentioned.
Exactly. So Kai, hundreds of years ago, was leading the fight against this corrupting power embodied by his own mother.
Wow. That's heavy. How did that war end?
The final battle was on Juno, Miv's capital world. Kai confronted her directly. He managed to break the artifact, hitting it while it was powering up, apparently a vulnerable moment. Broke it into 3 pieces.
3 pieces, like the 3 artifacts the triplets found.
The connection seems undeniable, doesn't it? But breaking it wasn't the end. Miv, in her final moments, released the call.
She released it, so she controlled it somehow.
Or unleashed it. The source describes it as a black shadow. And it possessed Pius, one of Kai's own comrades, right there on the battlefield.
So Pius turns.
Instantly possessed.
Yeah.
But before Pius can act, Kai kills his mother, severs her head. Grim stuff.
But then Pius.
Pius, controlled by the call, stabs Kai. Seems like betrayal. And Raz, seeing this and desperate to stop the 3 artifact pieces from being reunited, fires wrist missiles at Pius. His head explodes, seemingly destroying the artifact pieces along with him.
Okay, so Kai died back then. The hologram showed him dying.
It did. Raz put his body in a medical chamber, but later recordings confirmed that version of Kai died, which leads to the next bombshell from Raz.
Which is?
The Kai standing there with her now. He's a clone, the only stable one she managed to create after the original died.
He's a clone. He didn't know.
Seems not. Raz says they need to go back to Maxium, his old home, to restore him to his true self. Raises all sorts of questions about identity, memory.
Yeah, absolutely. And just when they're processing that, Shelley drops another bomb.
Right. Shelley pipes up. Says she knew Pius wasn't dead. And she knows where the artifact, or at least a piece of it, is located.
Whoa. So Pius survived having his head blown up, and he has a piece of the artifact.
Apparently. So now, Kai and Raz's mission shifts. It's not just about restoring Kai. They have to hunt down Pius, who's clearly connected to the call and the artifact. It all ties together.
Okay, so we're seeing the call operate on multiple fronts, transforming the triplets, having this deep history with Kai. What about its broader impact, like on the Avalians?
Right, the Avalians in the Level system. Described as this strong, stocky race, great farmers, planet-wide crops, super strong lift, 10, 15 times their weight, but crucially, not scientifically advanced. They did everything by hand.
Which made them vulnerable.
Extremely. This invisible urge, clearly. The call just swept through them, made them turn on each other violently, everyone convinced others were hiding some lost artifact.
So the call uses this artifact obsession as a trigger for violence.
Seems to be a recurring theme. Their population just plummeted, billions down to maybe 2%. Killing became instantaneous, on-site, utter devastation.
But the call wasn't done with them, was it?
No. Then it got cunning. At harvest time, it manipulated the survivors, suppressed the killing urge, made them gather at the spaceport loading docks, just waiting for traders.
Like bait in a trap.
Exactly. A trade ship, the Argominus, shows up. Crew comes out, Foreman, Little Timmy, Sarah. They immediately notice the stench decay, insects everywhere.
And the trap springs.
Yep. The Avalians, who looked slow, just leaping onto the ship with incredible speed. Foreman gets squished, Little Timmy's arm bitten off, head crushed. Horrific.
And they take the ship.
One Avalian takes control, uses some kind of mental power, a mind bomb, on a terrified crew member, forces them to set a course deep into space. It's not just mindless violence, it's strategic acquisition. They're spreading.
Spreading. And infiltrating, too, even at the heart of galactic government.
Right. The Galactic Center Government Space Station, huge place, capital for hundreds of civilizations, supposedly diverse, accommodating, but the politics had apparently gotten pretty rotten.
And we focus on Councilman Argrew.
Yeah, powerful guy. But he's suffering. Severe headaches, can't sleep. Yeah. Hearing the call in his head, demanding he submit.
Does it affect him physically?
Oh, yeah. His eyes turn completely black. His voice changes. It's a clear, visible corruption.
And does he resist?
He struggles. He even kills his own assistant, who overhears him arguing with the crooked Governor Taff and notices his changes. Tries to keep it secret. But eventually the pain, the pressure, he submits to the call. And the pain stops.
Submission brings relief. That's a dangerous bargain.
Very. And then he makes his move. During this big intergalactic meeting, Ardru, now levitating, along with 3 other council members who must have also submitted, he shoves the other council members off the platform, declares, "I'm in charge now."
Levitating? Okay, that's new power.
And then dark mist starts pouring out of him, latching onto others in the crowd, spreading the corruption. An alert siren goes off, signaling the Adjudicator Prime is on the way. Chaos erupts right at the center of power.
So the call can corrupt even established political figures, grant powers. It's infiltrating every level. Now, what about Sulis? He sounds like a different kind of character altogether.
Oh, Sulis the Regent.
Yeah,
he's
right.
Something else. Utterly depraved narcissist. His creators, these beings called the Commanders, considered him a failure. Retarded, they called him.
Why a failure?
Because their mental conditioning, basically brainwashing, didn't take on him. His free-roaming DNA, whatever that means, resisted it. He couldn't be controlled like his brothers.
And his cruelty. The source mentions ambrosia.
Yeah. His most prized possession, a wealthy human woman. He tortured her brutally, but could never break her spirit. In a fit of rage, he just snapped her neck, spun her head 180 degrees,
Gods.
and then scooped out her blue eyes as keepsakes. It just shows the depths of his sadism. He's truly monstrous, even before the call gets involved.
But the call does get involved, even with someone like him.
It tries. It starts whispering in his head, pushing him to ignore his creators, go find some shaman, get a mythical artifact.
Does he listen? He seems resistant to control.
Initially, no. He wants to do things his own way, on his own terms. He resists the external pressure. But the call is smart.
How so?
It changes tactics. It subtly suggests that it can help him achieve his goals, defeating his brothers, overthrowing the Commanders. It plays on his massive ego.
So it makes him think it's his idea.
Exactly. It reframes its demands as his own ingenious plan. And that hooks him. It's not forcing him. It's seducing him by feeding his own narcissism. A really key insight into how the call operates.
So where does this ingenious plan lead him first?
Well, context first. His home is the Dark Galaxy. The star in that system was destroyed centuries ago by his creators, the Commanders, messing with rogue fusion experiments.
Destroyed their own star.
Yep. Wiped out planets, billions of lives. And they blamed the Galactic Central Government for not funding them properly. So they have this massive grudge, this desire for revenge. Another angle for the call to exploit.
Okay, so within this dark galaxy.
The call guides Sulis to the 4th planet, to the monolith of wisdom. Tells him, read the inscriptions, pledge fealty. Then choose. Power of knowledge or power of body.
A forced choice. How does Sulis react?
He hates being forced, obviously, given how he treats others. He sees the parallel. He chooses power of body, maybe thinking it gives him more direct control.
And does he notice anything else there at the monolith?
Yes. One single word engraved on it, a name we've heard before.
Well, let me guess. Pious.
Vias. Right there on the monolith. Another thread connecting these seemingly separate storylines back to Kai, Raz, and that original conflict.
Okay, so Sulis gets the power of body. What does that let him do?
First thing, he rips the monolith, which was supposedly immovable, right out of the ground. So, yeah, major power boost.
And the call directs him next?
It suggests he subjugate his brothers, not kill them, build an army to take on the Commanders. And Sulis, of course,
claims it as his own brilliant idea.
You got it. So he heads back to his home world, Irash, for a bloody reunion.
Oh, bloody.
Kicks in the doors of the training barracks, confronts his brothers, warriors like Yaculus, Mogubus, Daculus, challenge him. He just brutally murders them.
Yeah.
Splatters their brains, establishes dominance instantly.
Just carves through them. Doesn't anyone try to stop him?
His brother Regulus steps in. And interestingly, even with Sulis's new power, he can't break Regulus's grip initially. The source notes the call actually considers Regulus as maybe a better host for a moment.
But Sulis wants to stay in charge.
Right. So To force Regulus to submit and make the other Goliaths fall in line, Sullus stabs Regulus, mortally wounds him, doesn't kill him outright, but forces his surrender, secures his army through fear and violence.
So he has his army of subjugated brothers and warriors. Now the commanders.
He leads his new mob to the commander's citadel, ready for a fight. But it's empty.
Empty, they ran.
They left a message. A projector bot plays it. They knew he was coming. Basically call him not worthy yet. Tell him if he wants to face them, he first has to defeat the adjudicators of Vulcanus.
They're setting him up against the adjudicators. Why?
Well, Sullus, thinking it's his plan to show his strength, orders his legion onto capital ships, and then commands them to destroy everything left on Erosh, blow up the cities, refineries, everything.
He destroys his own home world.
Scorched earth. But here's the twist. The source reveals the call was playing everyone. It manipulated Sullus into this warpath and apparently warned the commanders he was coming.
Warned them. So the call wanted Sullus to fight the adjudicator.
Exactly. It engineered this conflict, used Sullus's ego and rage to start a war that serves its own larger purpose. It's a master manipulator, orchestrating chaos across the galaxy.
Creating war worlds. Battle worlds. It's starting to make a horrifying kind of sense. Let's look at how that unfolds. Back to farmland, now war world.
Right. The Guardian, formerly Carl, is observing from orbit, sees the planet transformed, blood soaking the ground like rivers, the insectoid race he came from, extinct, gone. Just the swarm remains.
But there was resistance, wasn't there? The Corp security forces?
Oh yeah, fierce resistance. They had these big mechs, RATs, ready action troopers, like the tank. A 10-foot mech with an energy cannon. They inflicted heavy losses on the swarm initially.
But the swarm had that flesh-melting acid stuff.
Yeah, this green liquid in just sheer numbers, relentlessness. They overwhelmed the defenders, reinforcements arrived, like the Rat's Nest Dreadnought shuttle led by someone named Yondo. But even that ended up getting kamikazed into a habitat. Huge explosion.
So after a month, what was the situation?
A grim stalemate. The swarm held the countryside, the ruins. The remaining defenders were holed up in the biggest, most fortified habitats, holding out, but barely.
And the Guardian decided to escalate.
Needed to fully seed Warworld, as the source puts it. So he teleported up to Sentry Moon, found 2 more deaf insectoids.
And did the same thing he did to himself.
Pretty much. Transformed them into the Forsworn. Twin copies of himself, golden trim armor, blue-red eyes, the works. Now serving the call, too. Like creating field commanders.
So the call can replicate its key agents efficient in a terrifying way.
And decisive. The Guardian and the 2 Forsworn descended back to farmland. And that was basically it. They laid waste to the remaining resistance. Farmland fell completely.
And the survivors?
Inverted. Twisted into those human drones we mentioned earlier. Part of the swarm now.
And the Triumvirate approves?
They appear, yeah. Survey the devastation. Declare, welcome to Warworld. And say it's ready for the first combatants.
The first combatants. Implying this is just the arena and the real fight is yet to come.
Seems like it. Their work on farmland is done, for now. But the Triumvirate isn't resting.
What do they do next?
They secure a new call. This unnamed helpless figure forced them to pledge allegiance. I will serve the call.
And they mention prophecies needing a nudge.
Yeah, that line really stands out.
Yeah.
Shows they're actively making things happen, not just waiting for destiny. They tell the swarm on Warworld to get ready. Ignore any leftover rabble hiding out. Their blood will fuel the coming battles anyway.
Grim. And then they leave Warworld.
Yep. Off to secure the next location. Battleworld.
And where's Battleworld?
They appear on Butane. This is the homeworld of the adjudicators. Remember the ones Sullus was sent to fight, including the adjudicator Prime himself.
So they're taking the fight directly to the enforcers of galactic law.
Directly. They declare Butane is now Battleworld, the place of judgment. And then portals open.
Portals? To where?
Unknown, but outpour the Brood.
The Brood, who are they?
Hulking human-like beings. But they're described as a highly advanced techno-race, built for conquest. And crucially, enthralled to the call. Summoned from somewhere else. Another plane, another time maybe.
And they have superior tech.
Way superior. The adjudicators, tough as they are, start falling quickly. Butane is conquered in just 1 day.
A whole planet, home of the adjudicators, falls in a day. That's staggering speed.
It shows the power the call can now command.
Yeah.
And they don't stop there. Tres Major falls just as fast. That becomes the pit.
Warworld, Battleworld, the pit. 3 planets transformed into arenas for the call.
Exactly. And just as this is happening, That cold figure, the one forced to serve, described as an image in the mirror, arrives back on Warworld.
Carrying what?
An artifact. Presumably the piece Shelley knew about, or perhaps another one entirely, presents it to the Triumvirate.
The artifact pieces are coming together.
Seems like it. And the Triumvirate rejoices. They start to sing this chant. Warworld has begun to rejoice, for the time of the king is upon us.
The time of the king is upon us.
And the source says, everyone, everywhere who can hear the call. They start heading towards these three worlds. Warworld, Battleworld, the Pit. A galactic summons for war.
It's all converging. Which brings us back, finally, to Kai and Roz. Their ordeal isn't over, is it?
Not by a long shot. And Kai has this weird experience first, like a near-death liminal state.
Yeah. What does he experience?
Hazy, dreamlike. Here's this soothing voice talking about luminous beings of light, saying he's failed, but this is not your end. And crucially, telling him he's been to this place too many times.
Too many times. What does that imply, given he's a clone?
Right. Does each clone death send him here? Or is it the original Kai spirit? Or something else? It suggests a deep recurring connection or struggle with. Well, maybe death. Maybe the call itself.
And he wakes up where?
On a battlefield.
Injured.
Finds Raz nearby, barely alive. Multiple blaster wounds. He remembers being stabbed, sword through the chest.
Bye, Shelley.
He doesn't know yet, but we suspect. He uses this special stim pack he has, heals, restores energy, boosts strength for an hour. Uses it on himself, then Raz.
Buys them time. What do?
They need to catch Shelley. They jump on hover bikes, speed across these dark tides, described as normally hazardous, so maybe the stim helps, chasing her down.
And they confront her.
Yeah. And the change is obvious. Shelley has the red-blue eyes now. Confirmed servant of the call.
What does she say?
First thing, how are you here? I killed you.
So she did stab him. And she's surprised he's alive.
Totally. She admits she left Raz alive deliberately for her masters. Presumably the Triumvirate or the call itself.
Does Kai try to fight her?
Fires laser bolts, but they just glance off an energy shield she now has. Then a portal opens right on the ramp of their ship, the Allard.
A portal, like the ones the Brood used.
Exactly like them. Shelley just steps through it. But before she goes, she gives them a warning.
Which is?
Warworld has come. Stay away. You will serve the call. And she's gone.
Chilling. A complete betrayal and a warning. Where does she portal to?
Warworld. The source shows her arriving there, delivering the artifact she presumably took from Pius or wherever she got it, directly to the Triumvirate.
And that's when the Triumvirate starts singing about the king.
That's the moment. Shelley's delivery completes a crucial step for them. Warworld has begun to rejoice, for the time of the king is upon us.
So wrapping this up, where does this leave everyone at the end of these excerpts?
Well, Kai and Reyes now have an immediate mission. Get to Warworld, find Shelley. She's clearly key and has that artifact piece.
And elsewhere.
The broader conflict is escalating. The Adjudicator Prime is now hunting Celis and his Goliath army. The Galactic Minor region is in chaos. Criminals taking advantage on Tres Minor, near the pit. Everything's interconnected and spiraling.
It really feels like all roads are leading to Warworld now.
Absolutely. The narrative clearly sets up Eighth Succession War. Warworld is the next stage where all these threads will likely collide. The call has set the board, the pieces are moving, the battle for the king is about to begin in earnest.
And there you have it. We've just gone through a pretty intense deep dive, haven't we, into the harrowing world of the Eighth Succession War, uncovering how this entity, the Call, weaves itself through prophecies, transforms people, desperate kids becoming heralds, heroes becoming clones.
Yeah, corrupts leaders, twists entire species into monstrous armies. We've seen planets literally reshaped into Warworld, Battleworld, and the Pit, all building towards this crowning of a king.
It's massive in scope.
It really is. And considering how the Call just profoundly influences, maybe even overrides free will for so many people, changing their bodies, bending their desires to its own, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Which leads us to our final thought for you, the listener. In a universe where a force like the Call exists, this compelling, external, manipulative force, how much of anyone's will is ever truly their own?
Right. And what would it actually take to resist something like that? Something so overwhelming, so seductive in how it offers power or relief from pain? Or is destiny just dictated? Is everyone ultimately just answering a higher unseen call?
Something to definitely mull over. It's a fascinating and, frankly, terrifying concept.